Today's lesson is on solving equations with rational exponents. So we are going again, like yesterday, work through some of the problems that are on the worksheet that should be handed out, solving equations with rational exponents, and then discussing those. Or we won't be discussing because I'm not there. So here we go. We're going to start with the worksheet. We're going to start with number 1. And after yesterday's lesson, you can probably solve this one without even having me talk to you. So, as yesterday we talked about, we wanted to make the power 1. Well, in this case, you need to multiply by, everything to the second power. 1/2 times 2 is 1, so that makes, that makes the left-hand side 5k minus 1, the right-hand side being 64. Add 1 to both sides, you have 5k equals 65, dividing by 5, you have k equal to 13. Now again, you want to check these things because you can get, at times, some what you might call extraneous solutions. So if we just take 5k minus 1, and in this case k is 13, and we're going to take that to the 1/2 power, so we have 5 times 13 minus 1 to the 1/2 power, and we need that to equal 8. Well, 5 times 13, 65, and you subtract 1, you have 64 to the 1/2 power, and you could do this on your calculator as well. So again, if you're you can simply just use on your calculator 64 to the 1/2 power. If you use parentheses 1 divided by 2, parentheses is going to look a little different, but hit enter. As we know, that's the square root of 64, which is 8. So you can do this, check it on the calculator. So 8 equals 8. We check out, 13 is a good answer. Now we're going to look at number 2 here and look at something that's a little bit different. We have 513 equals r plus 26 to the 3/2 power now plus 1. So we want to get, essentially get this part by itself. So we subtract 1 from both sides. So you get 512 equals r plus 26 to the 3/2 power. Now if you think back to what we did in the last one, and I'm just going to go back to that. If you need to pause there, you can. What we wanted to do is get this to the first power. So we took and multiplied by 2. 1/2 times 2 makes 1. Same thing here. Let's make this into a 1 power. So what we have to do here is take them both to the same power. Well, if I'm thinking 3/2 times something, I want to put a fraction in here, right, that equals 1. And, well, what you might realize is that's going to be 2 over 3. That gives you 6 over 6, which is 1. So, and you might see a pattern here that it is just the reciprocal each time. So you take both to the 2/3 power. So we know in this case this becomes, right here will become 1. So we have r plus 26. Now you might think of 512 to the 2/3 power. Well, we've talked about, that's the cube root of 512, and then square that. If you want to do that in your head, you can. Or you take your calculator and then just take it, like we said, to the 3/2 power, or excuse me, it was to the 2/3 power, going back. So we're going to take that to the 2 divided by 3 power. Again, yours will look slightly different because you have the caret in there, which you'll use that. You get 64. So what we have then, in this case, 64 equals r plus 26. So subtract 26 from both sides, and r, in this case, you come up with 38. So again, need to check it. So we take in our calculator, we might take 38 plus 26 to the 3/2 power and add 1. So I'm just going to go to the calculator. 38 plus 26. I can hit enter if I want. Take that to the 3/2 power. So in this case, I'm going to take 3 divided by 2, hit enter, I get 512. So if I go back to my sheet now, what I've just checked is this whole part right here equals 512. If I add 1, I get 513. So I've checked it out. So basically, those are some of the same ideas when you work through these, from the day before. You're going to take them to each power. Now, just to make sure everybody's off on the right foot here, I'm going to ask you to try one of these on your own, and then I'll walk through it with you. I'll just walk through how it could be done and see if you have this down. So we're going to jump down to lucky number 7. So at this point, pause the video and work through number 7 on your own. All right, so once you've done that now, since you've worked through it, you've got the problem here, and what you probably wanted to do to start with is, I'm writing it down here, is that you wanted to move the 4. So you subtract 4 from both sides, and you get 512 again, equals b minus 11 to the 3/2 power. Okay, so take both sides to the 2/3 power. This is quite similar to the last one, isn't it? All right, so you get b minus 11. Those will cancel. Just as we did in the last one, if you take 512 to the 2/3 power, 64. If you add 11 to both sides now, okay, so in this case now you have 75 equal to b. If you check that out on your calculator, you should find that it does check, but you do want to check it. So you take 75 minus 11, take that to the 3/2 power, add 4, should equal 516. So you can work on the rest of the sheet. Good news is tomorrow, no video, and you'll actually be doing a kind of review of everything from the week that we've done. So you'll get that tomorrow. I'd like you to work on this sheet for the remainder of the period.